table. Mike Story.
Yes, sir.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yes, back in the
Been a
state,
little bit.
ready to talk some NFL. It's been a great NCAA tournament so far. Yeah, how you bracket looking?
No, didn't do one. I'm happy. I'm all football right now, baby. I'm all business.
That's fair enough. I did one, and mostly I'm interested in seeing how Kansas can do the rest of this tournament.
Fuck Kansas.
Yeah.
Fuck Jeff Goldblum, man.
That's what I say.
This guy's got no notes today.
No
First
notes.
time ever.
You're gonna get raw and unfiltered reactions from me.
Ooh,
So.
raw dog session with fucking Story. All right, so what are your thoughts on condoms? Did you like them? Do you use them?
All right, whatever. I'll wear the goddamn condom, but I'm not psyched
This isn't
about it.
about condoms. What? Do you really not wear condoms when you have sex with strangers?
Why would I wear a condom
Okay.
if I...
Well,
You're
I
married.
guess I'm married, and in all, I'm sharing this with you people out there. I am clipped, so
Oh, he's snipped.
I'm snipped. So
Nice.
no need any longer.
You just go inside whenever you want.
I don't have to waste money. It's not a waste, right?
Does it feel any different?
I don't remember the last time. It
No,
wasn't-
I'm saying after being snipped.
No.
When you...
Oh no, that no,
Oh.
no.
Okay,
So
so this
it's fine.
is great NFL talk.
Yeah, this is great information to
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, I haven't used one in a long time. I always put them on backwards.
No, that's they say don't do that.
Well, no, then it breaks and yeah.
And he wasted it. Right?
Yeah, well, there's a great Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where it's the numbing one that makes you last longer. He puts it on backwards, and then her pussy's fucking numb for like...
Have you been watching the new season?
No, because I'm trying to catch up and watch them all
Okay.
again.
It's
I'm waiting.
good. Every other episode's like laugh out loud funny. So
Good. Rip Jerry Lewis.
yeah,
Yeah.
R.I.P.
That's a shame. He was in the whole last season.
Richard Lewis.
Richard Lewis.
Yeah.
Sorry, I say Jerry Lewis.
He's been you said Jerry Lewis, who is dead too. So for the record,
Don't be named Lewis.
yeah.
Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lewis from Christmas Vacation. Pretty sure that guy's dead too.
I think you're right.
All right, we're gonna go through the mostly offensive big signings for free agency trades, all the players that have moved. I do have one thing for you, real quick, that I noticed. So I was watching the Four Falls from Buffalo, the documentary on the Bills for 0 for 4 in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I noticed something. I've never heard anyone bring this up, but you're gonna be appalled when I tell you this. So the first Super Bowl, that was the Scott Norwood wide right game where they should have won. So I'm watching the documentary, and everyone blames Norwood for missing it. Long field goal, regardless. So the Giants scored the first drive of the third quarter. They did a 10-minute drive, make the score 17-12. Bills go down and score the first play of the fourth quarter to score a touchdown. They take the lead. They are up 18-17, pending the extra point or 2-point conversion.
Mm-hmm.
They kick the extra point. So, dude, if they just go for two, that field goal is just to win the game or it's overtime.
Yeah. So, but going for two wasn't really as prevalent then.
There's
as
no
it is now.
analytics.
And no, because the analytics say you go for two to take the win, right?
All I'm telling you is that 99 times out of 99, not even 100, you fucking go for two. What's the difference between being up 1 or 2? There's only the fourth quarter left.
You're
know what
not
I'm
gonna
saying?
you're not gonna find an argument for me, but this is old school coaching where you take the guaranteed points.
But what does the 1 point do? It gets you up 2? What does that matter?
Safety, maybe, I guess.
It's a bad decision.
It was a
right?
bad call.
Like,
Yeah, I
it's
didn't-
like everyone blames. No one knew. I just
I didn't
realized
know-
that watching the documentary. I was like, so then they kicked the extra point to go up 2. When if you don't get the 2-point conversion, you're up 1. You have the lead.
Yeah.
If you go for the 2-point conversion and get it with that offense, Thurman Thomas.
How did he not get taken to task for that?
Because back then people were dumb.
Yeah.
It's the same reason as NBA teams not shooting threes. Larry Bird averaging 1 3-pointer a game.
To be fair, people are dumb now too. They were probably just
Well,
as dumb.
Dan Campbell's dumb now. Okay,
Yeah.
Every
coach has his
If
moments.
Dan Campbell watched that would realize that like this guy will go for 2 no matter what. When he
Dan
needs an
Cam-
extra
yeah,
point, he
Dan
goes
Campbell's
for 2.
head would explode if he saw that.
100%. It blew my mind that
I didn't
Levy-
realize that had happened. That's crazy.
he should not make the Hall of Fame just because of that call.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm telling you, the odds of him making that field goal if it's a tie game compared to win or lose the game, that probably changed it 20%, right?
Yeah.
The pressure of like you're not really it's a 47-yard field goal back then outdoors.
I'm sure somebody's modeled the win percentage if they had gone for.
I want to do that because
Two-
I've never read anything about it. I just like thought of this on my own. Props to me. You know, I like to pat myself on the back a lot here. But yeah,
They didn't bring it up in the documentary.
No, because it was also made in 2016,
Okay.
or it was like 10 years ago. So it blew my mind how fucking dumb.
Terrible decision.
And that's a championship.
Kicked off a
coach.
losing dynasty.
Yeah, honestly, they make that kick or go for 2 and then win in overtime, which they would have probably won. Whole different thing. They
changes
might have won
everything.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Who knows? All right, we're going to start with quarterbacks here. We're going to start with something close to our heart. This is a trade. Our Bears, our Justin Fields, our guy, and a bag of peanuts and maybe a Coke. What did they get for him?
6, I think.
That could become a 4th if they play him 50% of the snaps.
Yeah, which I
And then
think
next year's
I
draft,
do
though.
think that he will play. I don't know if he'll play 50%, but he'll be starting by midpoint.
Let's
of the
just
season.
give the Bears a 4th round pick for the
Okay.
trade. Let's say that for this
say that,
exercise.
okay.
I still don't like it.
I don't either. I thought I get that they're investing in, which is now almost certainly Caleb Williams. I think
Your
it's-
boy, right? You love this guy?
God, I can't stand him.
So he hates him.
I can't. I hate's a strong word.
We're
but
going to get into him later,
Strong
but
dislike.
so I had this written down. I mean, I already know your answer, but so in Justin Fields' draft a couple years back, Trevor Lawrence was the can't miss, and he was a can't miss. He had everything right, the looks as people value, the hair, the height, the arm strength. He was the guy from like sophomore year of high school. He was the guy. He was like a Manning.
That was Clemson's dynasty era right there.
So is he a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams?
No,
And
but
Trevor-
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is that good of a quarterback either.
No, but he was the prospect.
Yeah,
He
okay,
was a
so you're
can't
talking-
miss.
okay, you're
Yeah,
talking
coming
can't-
out.
can't miss.
Trevor Lawrence coming out. I feel like Trevor Lawrence. And
I
Andrew Luck was
think
similar.
there's a lot of hype around Caleb Williams. There's also a lot of consternation about what the Bears are doing. So Trevor Lawrence, I would agree. Trevor Lawrence was the next Andrew Luck, who was the next Peyton Manning, right? And for Trevor Lawrence, it hasn't panned out that way. None of these guys are truly can't miss. As Brad Pitt said in Moneyball, you don't have a crystal ball, neither do I. You can't predict these kids' futures. Sit there and say, yeah, this kid can't miss. He's going to be an NFL Hall of Fame player. But the bottom line is, we never know how these kids are going to adjust to the NFL. There's a real chance, it's probably on the smaller end, that Caleb Williams is a flat-out bust, or he's the next Justin Fields. Frankly, they could be wanting to get out of this contract.
And the biggest thing about quarterbacks of any position, of any sport, is where you go. And the Bears' track record of developing quarterbacks, I mean, there is no track record.
It's
negative.
subpar,
It's
to
the
say the
worst of
least.
all time. It's as bad as, like, Dusty Baker's fucking record with managing pitchers. Or Tom Thibodeau running guys into the ground. Like, that's what they do. That's what we do. We don't develop. We actually hurt them. So, the fact that we want to do this again, when we could have just kept the guy, got Marvin Harrison, who is the can't miss in this draft. Would you agree with that?
I don't know about
Fuckers,
that either.
Randy Moss, bro.
I don't think that anybody's can't miss. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen him come and we've seen him go. And the bottom line is, I get Marvin Harrison, the talent, the size, the speed, the production is all there. But we are still talking. And we could probably save some of this for the draft talk. But you're still dealing with 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids who are entering a different era of football, a fast, physical, dominant sport that sometimes mentally they just cannot adjust. So I'm not to here. I'd say there's a 95% chance he is a eventual Hall of Famer. But is that guaranteed? Absolutely not.
I would say more 95% chance he's a perennial Pro Bowler.
Okay,
the Hall of
perennial
Famer,
Pro Bowl, yeah.
Hall of Famer
That one's-
thing.
That one's,
That's all about health.
That's probably generous.
That's all about health.
That's
I
probably
mean-
generous too.
And if the Bears drafted him, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer. All right, so for the Steelers though, I love this for the Steelers.
Yeah, I do too.
The Russell Wilson thing, I love it too because their quarterbacks are Justin Fields and Huss and Bus, and they're paying them like $6 million combined.
It's amazing.
insane.
I mean, you go back and look at how the Broncos bungled this infinitely.
Well, the Broncos are paying him $40 million.
Yeah, $42 million or something like that.
Oh,
It's crazy.
my God.
No, I think it's great for the Steelers. I'm not sure why they shipped off Deontay Johnson, and we'll probably get to it, but it's great for this all around. I like what this does for Pratt Freiermuth. I like what this does for the backup to the running back. What the hell is his name?
Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren, yeah. I think it's a great. I think they're both a couple of great additions. Do I think Russ will start? Yeah, he was brought over. He was signed. But what's the investment there? You know, $900,000 or something
they're
like
just
that.
taking someone else's trash.
Yeah.
My question is, why didn't the Broncos try to get in the Justin Fields sweepstakes? They could have fixed, possibly, we love Fields, and it's more of the allure, the upside of Fields, right? He's a hot girl with an awful personality. You can never make an ugly girl hot. You could fix a fucking personality more than you could fix looks. I guess unless
I don't know, you ever
plastic
seen
surgery,
She's
but-
All That?
Yeah, but that chick was hot. She just like
She
dressed
was
like
already.
shit,
Yeah,
dude. I mean,
yeah. Take your glasses off and all.
I'm saying they could have fixed everything they did wrong and traded a third rounder. So I know they don't have a lot of draft capital.
wide receivers get shuffled around, running backs get shuffled around. It feels like if a quarterback doesn't hit in the first 4 or 5 years in his career, that's it, and he is blackballed by the league.
Now it's 2 years.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into it.
So
with
that's
fucking
why
Kenny Smallhand Pickett.
The Broncos, I feel that they looked at situations that, well, the Bears tried already. He's not worth our time as a quote unquote developmental prospect,
Right.
because he's not. Even though you look at the carousel, the revolving door that is running backs in this league, it's absolutely.
Who's gonna
absurd.
play quarterback for the Broncos this year? Because they don't have enough draft capital to get a high. They
Do you
don't
think
have
they
a
can
high
get Drew Lock back?
I mean, dude, it's bad. They're fucking
Actually,
mess,
who
bro.
is on the roster right now?
Dan Orlovsky. He's an analyst, but like he might still be there.
You think? Yeah. What the hell?
I was kidding about that. It's bad though. I mean,
Yeah.
is John Elway still in charge there?
Yes.
He is fucking trash.
Let's find out.
dude.
We're gonna make. All right, we got Ben DiNucci, who was a backup in
Cowboys.
Dallas,
Oh no.
and Jarrett Stidham, who is from Auburn
Jesus,
fame.
bro.
R.I.P. Auburn fans. They lost today.
They don't even have like an Aiden O'Connell, like a somewhat promising old rookie.
Yeah, Jimmy G got signed,
Bro.
re-signed. So there's no.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's bad. That's
All
so
right.
they're drafting somebody, obviously.
Yeah, but they also don't have the draft capital. Just, a third round draft pick isn't as good as Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. All right, Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins of the Falcons, 4 years, $180 million. Oh
my God.
Coming off an ACL. I believe that's all guaranteed. At least the 3 years.
So he was
is
the first
guaranteed.
quarterback in the league to get a fully guaranteed contract.
I thought Deshaun Watson's is fully guaranteed.
Yes, but Kirk Cousins was the first to get fully guaranteed when he was signed with the Vikings the first time around. This one is interesting.
To the Falcons, I don't know if I mentioned that.
Yes, he's to the Falcons. You did mention that too.
Okay,
Falcons. A lot of money for an aged, I think he's 36, quarterback coming off of a pretty nasty Achilles tear.
And with one playoff one.
And is it really only one playoff?
There's one playoff one, yeah. I was having this argument with my dad about Lamar Jackson and Cousins. He was trying to say they're similar. I was like, no. Lamar Jackson his winning percentage is like 58-17 in his career. Cousins is like 76-68, which isn't bad. I'm just saying, like, Lamar Jackson gets all this hate. Yeah, he kind of sucks in the playoffs. The guy only wins, dude. That's a crazy winning percentage.
Plus, Kirk Cousins had 2 years of Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
So.
And the crazy thing about the Falcons is they could have gotten Lamar last year.
Yeah, I know.
And they didn't want to pay him. But they want to pay this dude. Why? If he wasn't off the ACL, maybe I'd be more like good about it. I love it for fantasy. I love it for the weapons there. They're trying to get a guy. Kyle Pitts.
There's a lot of hype around Drake London in particular.
I love
Kyle
it for Bijan.
Pitts
Love it for Bijan.
and Bijan. I was just going to say Bijan, a pocket passer, obviously pass catching running back.
The best thing for Bijan is no Arthur Smith too.
Yes, that's
He can
certainly
actually
very helpful.
be on the field.
Yeah, I mean, this is difficult because Kirk. I get that medical advances, et cetera, and but it's a different Achilles tear than what Rodgers had. This is his plant foot too. So what?
I was thinking it was an ACL. Jesus Christ, it's a fucking Achilles.
It's an Achilles. Yeah.
It's trusting in modern medicine too much in my mind because I know we've seen it, right?
I do think it's good for fantasy. I think it's better for real life. I'm not sure that there's enough talent on the rest of this roster to make these guys as good as everybody thinks they're going to be. I've seen rankings that have Bijan number 2
I get
overall.
that.
I have
That's based on
time
talent.
believing
That's
that.
based on
I mean,
talent.
yeah.
But like in terms of the Falcons, real life, Kirk Cousins, it makes you better. Does it? It doesn't.
Absolutely. The direct that they rolled out at quarterback last
There's
year.
no way they're winning the Super Bowl though with Kirk Cousins.
Nope.
There's zero chance.
I don't think they're.
Patrick Mahomes is still there. The Eagles are hungry.
They probably-
the Cowboys are still good. The fucking Niners are a monster.
They will probably win the NFC South. I think that's pretty solid. The
It's
one
a dog shit division though.
it is a bad division. No argument. I'm just saying that they're probably going to the playoffs, but I don't think they're going very far. From a real life perspective, though, it's going to be better than what they had last year.
They're in NFL hell now. Okay, Baker Mayfield to the Bucks. This is a re-sign, but I want to talk about it a little bit just because 3 years, $100 million, good for him. The Browns are pretty pissed off because they gave him away for nothing, and now they're stuck with the likes of Deshaun Watson and Jameis Winston.
200.
And they had Tyler Huntley too. So look at that room, though. Deshaun Watson and Jameis Winston. Hand jobs and fucking crab legs.
Crab legs.
Like,
Yeah.
wow, man, that is fucked up. And they didn't want Joe Flacco back for some reason.
I don't know what the Browns are doing anymore.
Dude, and they have such a good roster. It's such a good team. Like they have a Super Bowl team.
So-
Like they're better than the Falcons roster.
Flacco went to Indianapolis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like that for them. Like he's a
He's a
steady-
good. You think about the backup there, and
who else do you want to mentor? Pseudo mentor
Anthony
Richardson.
Yeah.
Like I know they're different type of quarterbacks, but Joe Flacco's a pro. The pro's pro, and he can still play a little bit.
Yeah,
as we
he
saw.
can still ball. So back to the Bucks though, they re-signed Mike Evans as well. This is good. I mean, we saw. Can they run it back, or did they catch lightning in a bottle with these guys? The one thing that I think is kind of missing here is if Chris Godwin took a step down last year in terms of production and everything, but if he kicks back up, you could be looking at Baker as a top 12 quarterback. The biggest challenge is he doesn't run anymore. He was running a little bit his rookie year.
Yeah.
He does not give you anything on the ground. For fantasy, though, I think it's great for Evans and Godwin. It's great for Rachaad White. It's absolutely stellar for Rachaad White. Unless they draft somebody pretty high, I think that he's going to have another tremendous year.
Rachaad White, man.
So this is a good signing for the Bucks. I like it, but I don't think they're going anywhere in the playoffs. They'll probably sneak in on a wild card.
I was just more of just a point of Mayfield getting the money, what he's deserved, because Mayfield, it's been a really up and down career, but he was labeled a bust so early, and he was in a similar situation to what the Bears put their quarterbacks in. He actually did win a playoff game with Cleveland, which is as many playoff wins. Actually, no. Baker Mayfield has more playoff wins than Kirk Cousins. Because he won a game last year.
Yep.
And how old is Baker Mayfield? 27?
Beat the Eagles last year.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles beat themselves. They didn't show up. They kind of checked in and they kept their bag. They didn't bring them to the room. They're like, keep these down here.
You want to talk about a team limping into the playoffs?
Jesus. Hey, I told you Jalen Hurts is overrated.
Yeah.
Didn't I? Last year you said it was blasphemy. I quote this man. And I said he's not that good. And
it was a great start to the year.
It was. I mean, he just gets a million rushing touchdowns because of the offensive line.
Yeah.
Now you got no Kelsey, baby.
That'll be interesting to see.
Okay, a couple backups here that I just want to touch on. Kenny Smallham Pickett to the Eagles. Love it. I hate Kenny Pickett. I think he's trash. But they got him for, a sixth-rounder?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he's
I think it's a conditional
24 years old.
Yeah.
He was a first-round pick 2 years ago. Now, he's bad, but that's you could do
that's
good business.
That was Mike Tomlin he was trying to make a hometown thing happen.
And he didn't want any controversy because they want him to play.
Hell, Mason Rudolph played better than Kenny Pickett last year.
He did. And then Mac Jones of the Jags, similar situation. I kind of like this one too.
Whatever.
He's awful. You know Mac Jones' numbers are actually as good as Trevor Lawrence's?
Doesn't surprise me. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is that good.
No, but Mac Jones has had 2 historically bad years. And somehow his numbers are the touchdown interceptions the same as Trevor Lawrence. With no weapons on the Patriots. And Bill Belichick checked out 2 years ago.
Don't you blast him out Demario Douglas.
No, but I kind of like this for the Jaguars though. Again, depreciated asset.
So it's strictly a backup role.
Yeah. But I mean, he has a little bit of upside. I think. I mean, the guy was a 16th overall
potentially.
pick.
I mean, yeah, won a national championship.
Hey, there was clamoring back in the draft that the Niners traded up to get him. He'd probably be awesome with the Niners, though.
I think so.
Right? I mean, I think we'd be good with the Niners. Is this ripping on?
I love Brock Purdy, man. The kid's a stud.
He is a stud. You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I think he's just.
I think he should have a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Blame Shanahan.
I think
for
he's just
being a coward.
Guy. All right, let's get into the juicy part here.
There we
We got
go.
running
This
backs.
one,
This
like
is
I said,
a lot of
revolving
guys
door.
here. Okay, we're gonna start. We're gonna go salary wise, highest salary to lowest salary. Josh Jacobs to the Packers.
I don't get it.
4 years, $48 million. That is a lot of cash.
That is so much money.
He's got a lot of tread too.
Well, trust me, his 2022 season came out of nowhere, unexpected. Obviously, a down year last year. I don't get the Packers get a lot of credit for doing things right with the quarterback. This running back situation, you're thinking they did Aaron Jones dirty. They could have gotten him for much less money and gotten what I think would be very equivalent production to re-sign Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones signed a 1 year, $7 million contract.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. But
well, Josh Jacobs is better than Aaron Jones at this stage of his career. He's more durable.
I think it's
right. He's a more of an every down back.
That's the big thing. Is Aaron Jones the injury concern?
Wouldn't you just rather have Saquon Barkley though? I mean, okay, and
he's going to be a monster.
But fantasy, you do love this for Josh Jacobs, right?
For fantasy,
for Josh Jacobs,
because AJ
Dillon's still there, but he's not very good. I mean, I love AJ Dillon for some reason. He does. Yeah, he really has quads though.
No, he does have good quads. Very, very manly quads.
Yeah.
No, it is a good signing for real life. I don't know. I'm not sure what the Packers are going to be like next year. They got 1 million wide receivers, so. Yes, this is probably 280 carries for Josh Jacobs. Mm-hmm. So it is strictly a volume play.
And he can catch. He's a decent receiver.
Bit. They don't really target him.
Well, he had the 60 catches in 1 year.
Did he really have 60 catches in 2022?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know.
Something like that. I mean, come on, he had every snap. So.
That's true. He did have every snap.
And they're not high value catches. It's the dump down.
And he had every snap on games he came in questionable.
Yeah.
I remember betting on Zamir White to score a touchdown when it was like, oh, Josh Jacobs is questionable for this weekend. Josh Jacobs gets 95% of the snaps.
So, to parallel to that, though, Josh Jacobs, we're going to talk about the other end of the spectrum, which is the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I love Zamir White. He got me to a couple championships last year, but I didn't win any of those.
Played well down the stretch.
I like
Absolutely.
him, man. I like him.
I think you're looking at probably a late day 2, day 3 running back draft for the Raiders.
Yeah, unless they bring someone else in.
But this is Zamir White's backfield until further notice.
Now, that is a total shit show of a team right now.
Yeah, it's bad.
But what's their best chance of competing is running the goddamn ball because they don't have a quarterback and they have a disgruntled wide receiver who probably won't be there the whole year.
You don't think so?
I'd be pissed if I was him, man.
They're shipping everybody off.
Yeah, why not? Ship him off. Send him to the fucking Bills.
Or
something.
Devontae Adams.
Why don't the Bills trade for Devontae Adams? That'd be great.
Why don't the Jets trade for Devontae Adams?
They got Mike Williams.
Oh, that's true. Big Mike Williams.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. 3 years, $37 million. I love this move.
Yeah, I've never had Saquon Barkley in any fantasy team ever. Which
Really?
I kind of took a stand and then I kind of dug in, but my God, he's so good. And this is such opportunity for him. Now the Eagles do like to run a bit of a committee, a bit of a rotation, but the bottom line is, okay, so Jalen Hurts is going to steal a bunch
That's the problem.
Yeah, bunch from the 1.
And
but
the catches
from
aren't
the
gonna be
5 to the 2, the Eagles run the ball almost more than any other
And
team.
who can score 10-yard touchdowns?
Saquon Barkley. So coming from the Giants, he's not going to get 1-yard plunges, but the overall scoring opportunity is going to be much greater with this team. There's some concerns about the offensive line, obviously, and what the Eagles look like versus how they looked at the end of last year. But this is a tremendous move for the Eagles. It sucks for the NFC East. I think the Eagles are going to run away with it.
Okay, so, we both like Barkley. What do you put his percentage at from, prime Saquon, which would be his rookie to second year, at that talent level, to now?
70%.
Okay, I was going to say 80, but that's 70% of Barkley, still 120% of...
Called 70 to 80%, yeah.
70% of Barkley is 200% of A.J. Dillon. Right? Like talent level?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think? This is probably the best running back signing of the offseason.
Yeah, just because they're in a win-now mode, right? Like, he got a little bit of money. They're going to run him into the ground if they need to.
How many years on this contract?
3 years.
Okay.
So, why not run him to the ground? They got nothing,
It's a 2-year window, probably, with how Hurts ages.
Yeah. Not that old, but he's getting banged up, bro. Can only fucking plunge into the middle of defensive tackles for so long. Before
2 years ago, he stayed completely healthy. Last year, he was nicked and bruised up almost every single game by week 8.
All right, Joe Mixon. This was a trade to the Texans. It was reported he was released, and then I don't even know what they got for him. Probably not much.
I don't know either, but then they signed him to a 3-year deal. So make of that what you will, but the Texans have kind of showed us their cards in that this is not going to be Devin Singletary's backfield.
No, Singletary's gone.
Oh, he's gone?
He's in the Giants.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, which is an awful signing. I'll just talk about that right now.
So Dameon Pierce, though, he's still there?
Pierce is still there.
Okay, but he's not. Obviously, they showed he wasn't the guy.
Pierce was never good. I watched his college film coming out. He never even got the job at Florida. I was very unimpressed, and then he came out and made me eat my words his rookie year and ran like a fucking monster. He was on PCP or something, dude. And last year, he was the worst running back in the league by metrics. Devin Singletary just took the job from him. And I don't think Devin Singletary is very good.
Singletary probably carried people to fantasy.
Yeah, but he's not very good. I had Singletary everywhere last year. Want to know why? Because he was a handcuff getting in the draft.
He never did anything on the Bills.
He was okay. 900 yards, 4 touchdowns, 30. Yeah. Well, Josh Allen.
But this will be the Joe Mixon show. Then.
So we were talking about Barkley's, 70% of what he was, and 70% of Barkley though is still elite because Barkley was a top 5 talent ever to come out.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest Joe Mixon homer, man. From day one, I love the guy. I always have. He is lost. He is at 70% of what he was, which is way worse than 70% of Saquon Barkley.
Really slow.
Very slow. And he's just a power back.
No explosiveness.
But he's savvy, right? He's a good pass blocker. He is a pretty savvy receiver. The guy is just a coach's pet now.
So 2 concerns. Number 1 is they've got a great receiving core in Houston, so they're probably going to want to throw. Number 2, their offensive line needs a lot of work. But Mixon did well in fantasy last year because he got everything.
Touchdowns.
And he's probably going to get everything in Houston. So
where he's going to make his money, in my mind, is 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, this is a low-end wide receiver, too.
Yeah.
Or running back, too.
Yeah. I see a lot of 17 for 53 in a touchdown games with 4 catches. Mm-hmm. Which isn't bad, and it's 21 touches.
I think 4 catches is probably generous. I think you're looking at 2 catches on average. a game?
He can catch a little bit.
I don't think. Yeah,
You just don't think they're going to check
I
down.
just don't. I mean, I don't see it. We didn't see it much last year. I don't know that we're going to see any different this year.
We'll talk about Singletary real quick because that was the revolving door. He went to the Giants. What are the Giants doing?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've ever known. I think they're still reeling from the Kenny Galladay offseason signing.
Well, mix that with doubling down and signing Daniel Jones to that contract. And I get it. He had the worst offensive line ever. I don't remember what game it was. It was a Monday night game. I think it was a Seahawks game, like week 4, where he got sacked like 13 times.
Yeah, poor guy.
Dude, it was unbelievable.
I think I had the Seahawks defense. I picked them up in one league, and they scored like
2
30
touchdowns,
points.
and
Yeah.
they had like 13
It was
sacks.
the only reason I won that week.
And like Daniel Jones isn't exactly a statue. He's actually pretty damn
Pretty mobile.
athletic for a white guy.
Although, I mean, you ever see a guy run in a straight line and just fall out?
Right. But Daniel Jones is not a statue, and the
No,
fact that he got like that team is so bad. They're so bad. And now they have Devin Singletary as their savior. That's bad. They have no talent at running back, no talent at wide receiver, no O-line, and Daniel Jones.
It's going to be rough.
No defense.
It's going to be rough in New York.
Is Dabo still there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ryan
my
Dable's still there.
God.
gonna be
That
rough.
fucking guy. How fat do you think he's going to be if he continues to coach?
Poor guy.
Because I
Probably
saw
gonna
a
have
clip
heart
of
attack.
Mike McCarthy, like early on, coaching with Green Bay. He was pretty thin.
But get out of town.
Dude, no, he was thin. He looked closer to you than he looked like to me. And now you look at McCarthy and he's just fucking got the fucking meat sweats and shit on the sideline.
He always looks pissed off, too.
So Singletary, bad deal. It's 3 years, $16 million. It's not that much money, but he's just a guy. I mean, he's literally a guy. You could draft a guy in the 3rd round that's better than him right now.
5 1/3 a year, that's nothing for a running back. It's probably they'll get out of it in a year anyway.
You're right. The Giants are winning 12 games now. Devin Singletary is going nuclear.
Yeah.
Okay, DeAndre Swift to the Bears. 3 years, $24 million. I'm a pretty big Swift guy. Kappa was a huge Swift guy. He showed out. It was a weird year for him last year because didn't play week 1, then had an awesome like week 2 through 6 stretch where he was just breaking off big runs, and then kind of nothing.
Kenny Gainwell exploded in week 1, and then he got hurt. If you remember, he didn't play game 2. Everybody thought, "Oh, Kenny, we got fooled on Swift,"
And then it was Swift.
went absolutely.
But
nuclear.
then it was just a 3-man timeshare.
yeah, which is probably what it's going to be in Chicago. If you,
They like Roschon.
They love Roschon.
Khalil Herbert was the starter last year, so it's
Roschon's
gonna be-
probably the best runner of these.
and the best pass blocker. Well, the only pass blocker.
But he's not nearly as good a receiver as DeAndre Swift out of the backfield.
He's surprisingly savvy. He just doesn't have Swift can run routes.
What was the contract for Swift?
3 years, $24 million.
That's hefty. That's a lot.
He's a playmaker though.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a playmaker, and I like that. It's just for fantasy, I hate it for Swift
I don't.
because what's he gonna have? 140 touches.
It's going to be rotation. Like we're
10 a
not going to
game.
know who to start every game. So
No. So it just makes everything.
it's
I think
helpful.
I'm drafting
I mean,
Roschon.
you look at how poorly the Bears did surrounding Justin Fields with talent in order to let him thrive and succeed. They're doing the opposite now, and they're giving, presumably, Caleb Williams every opportunity to be the guy by surrounding him with talent. And we'll get to it when we get to the wide receiver signings.
Do you remember what David Montgomery signed for
In
Detroit?
Detroit, no.
3 years, like $8 million.
$8 million total?
Yeah. So I'm saying we just gave up fucking David Montgomery, who is, I mean, Swift. They're different players. Don't get me wrong. I like Swift's talent more. Montgomery is a fucking coach's pet. He's a banger. He can catch. He can do everything. David Montgomery is a pretty good player, and he got paid a third the money that we just gave Swift.
Okay.
Which that's what the Bears do. So, all in all, we had the money, so it's bad for fantasy. We'll see. Another playmaker though. I would have liked it with Justin Fields more than Caleb fucking
Same.
Williams. Okay, Tony Pollard, the bum of the year last year for fantasy and real life. I believe he had 4 touchdowns out of 26 goal line attempts. Really bad.
And his
Really
explosiveness
bad.
rating went down like 40% from the
He
year
had the
before.
longest average touchdown the year before with Zeke. He had 9 touchdowns over 30 yards. He had, I'm pretty sure, 0 last year.
I just don't understand what happened. Oh, well,
He must have been hurt. He
It
was
had to
hurt.
be an
He said he
injury
was
thing.
hurt.
So this particular signing,
It's 3 years, $21 million to the Titans, by the
yeah,
way.
it squashes any and all Tajay Spears breakout potential.
I disagree.
You think that Tajay's still going to be a solid breakout candidate this year?
I think that Tajay Spears, I think Tony Pollard will get drafted in the 6th or 7th round. I think Tajay Spears will get drafted in the 10th or 11th round.
You think Pollard will get drafted before Tajay Spears?
Yeah.
Have you looked at any ADP?
not.
I haven't either, but I'd be surprised if they weren't going in the same exact round.
It might be one of those, seventh round guys. But I think Tony Pollard has a name value, right? Of like,
A lot of people got burned
They
by
did,
him last year.
but the thing is, getting burned by him and knowing their name is one and the same. And the fact that we're talking round 1 to round 7, big
forget,
drop, dude.
There was a lot.
drop.
There was a lot of hype when it came to Tajay Spears last year.
I love Tajay Spears. Really good player, man. The problem is that Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard are kind of the same guy.
They're 2 spots apart. So
Really?
Spears is being drafted at 65 and Pollard at 67.
In terms of
Half
overall?
PPR scoring.
Overall?
Overall, yeah.
So that's 5th, 6th round.
Yeah.
Wow.
6th round. Early.
See, I don't like that.
I don't like it because we don't know what Will Levis is realistically, and their offensive line is horrid.
Like, I would take Pollard over Spears right now.
I'd
You know
take
what I'm
Spears
saying?
over Pollard.
Really?
Yeah. I think there's greater potential. I don't think that either one of these guys is going to be a wide receiver, or keep saying that, a running back 1, but I certainly think that Tajay Spears has greater potential than Tony Pollard. We saw what Pollard could do. Nobody failed more from the 5-yard
That's the
in
problem.
than Tony
Yes,
Pollard.
Yes, and his explosive. We'll see. I'm banking on injury there. That was why he was so bad because, and also the fact that the Cowboys wanted to throw the ball when they were up by fucking 21 points all the time.
It's a murky backfield.
Very murky.
So
Those
this
are the
might
ones
be-
to target though because
This
you
might
hit
be
the right
one
guy.
where you just take the later drafted guy.
I was thinking it'd be more gap, but I mean we'll see as draft season approaches. We're still
Or
in,
take the
we're
guy you
still
like,
in
right?
March.
It's at this
Yeah.
point.
Okay, Derrick Henry. It's crazy we're talking about him this late in the running back.
I love this for the Ravens.
Derrick Henry to the Ravens, 2 years, $16 million. Has there ever been a player that fits a team more than Derrick Henry? Granted, it's diminished. Like we'll say, we did the Saquon Barkley line, right? The 70%. I think Derrick Henry's 75% of what he was, right?
I love this. I think Derrick Henry's probably right there. He's 29?
Yeah, he's probably 29 or 30.
Okay.
He probably turned 30 during the year.
Yeah, so he's breaking the mold when it comes to running backs, and he has continually broke the mold. People have been calling for his downfall for 3 years, and he's not. He keeps disappointing those people.
Yeah.
So I think if he's 75% of what he was, then this is a strong signing for Henry and a strong signing for the Ravens. He could score 15 touchdowns.
Right. And what people don't realize about Derrick Henry is that he is the weight room, the workout warrior. So, like, I'm not going to call him LeBron James because no one's LeBron James in terms of longevity. The running back position is known to cycle you out at 28 years old.
Yeah, so you
But if anyone
deteriorate
can-
quickly. If your
Now,
name isn't Christian
especially,
McCaffrey.
he's been hated on, right? And, like, if anyone's going to maintain or put the extra work in, it's Derrick fucking Henry. And now he's got a chance to play for a championship.
The guy's an
I'm
animal.
sure he's tight with Lamar Jackson. I can see them being friends. Who else do they have behind? They have Keaton Mitchell, who is just that's perfect combo. in my
Yeah,
mind.
because it's a thunder and lightning situation, right? Derrick Henry did show that he can catch the ball, but I think that the Ravens would prefer to use Keaton Mitchell on third downs there. But Henry's going to get everything inside the 20-yard line, and especially everything at the 5. And I got to figure that the Ravens, realizing that Lamar Jackson's getting a little up there, probably going to want to limit his running a little
Right,
more.
and he's never been known to be a goal line runner. Like, that's why he only has 6-7 rushing touchdowns a year.
That's true.
They're
So,
definitely not doing tush push.
what
with
did
Lamar
Gus Edwards
Jackson.
get in terms of touchdowns last year on the Ravens?
10 or 12, man.
Right. So if you're talking easily double-digit touchdowns
Right.
for Henry, assuming he stays healthy.
And you're going to have more of a, Gus Edwards isn't Derrick Henry, so he was phased out sometimes. You don't phase out Derrick Henry. You know what I'm saying? And I want to bring this up, just you were talking about the Thunder and Lightning thing. I brought this up, I think, to you or at least to Nick before. The funniest thing ever was Derrick Henry's, I think it was the second year, and they brought in Deion Lewis. And they used, it was the opposite. They had Deion Lewis as the early down banger and goal line guy, and Derrick Henry was the fucking third down guy. There's this picture of them. It's like Deion Lewis is like 5'7", 180.
It's like take your kid to school day.
Yeah. And you have the big
Or
guy.
take your kid to work
the
day.
big guy's playing third down.
Gus Bus.
Gus Edwards, the Gus Bus, coming off a great year. What was the contract you said?
2 years, $6.5 million. So you talk about peanuts. That is
Going from the Ravens to the Chargers. Chargers have 0 wide receivers now. They got rid of Keenan Allen. We'll talk about that later. They got rid of Mike Williams.
there's gonna be nobody to spot Justin Herbert in the weight room.
They got rid of Gerald Everett, too.
Yeah.
Like, what do they got? They got rid of Austin Eckler.
So the GM came out and said that Gus Edwards will be the bell cow now that he signed his contract. Which the contract amount tells me that that's probably all
No.
talk.
And they have all those kind of shitty running backs
Listen,
behind them.
yeah, Joshua Kelly.
Joshua Kelly.
Who helped helped carry me to a fantasy championship a number of years ago. Believe it or not, he was a stud at UCLA
In college, yes.
In college,
no
yeah.
NFL championship.
So this is a good signing for the Chargers. I am all out on the Chargers for fantasy next year. There's nothing about that team to like. There's no better place for Gus Edwards to go than to his former coach's brother's new team. They need stability there, and he is a coach's guy. Gus Edwards is probably going to have 8 touchdowns on the ground,
yeah,
I'd say.
the problem is the touchdowns won't be there, but the volume will. But that's empty volume. In
Yeah, it's probably 6 touchdowns realistically. So for fantasy, he's a hands off for me, but it's a good signing for him and a good signing for the Chargers.
All right, next up, Antonio Gibson, my boy, to the Patriots. 3 years, $11.25 million. Been disappointing for a while now. The guy's got all the tools. 230-pound back that's fast.
I would say
He's a knucklehead, though.
I would say that I think it's a bad idea for coaches to punish players by fumbling, but at some point, like Antonio Gibson, you got to stop fumbling, man.
Yeah.
Like, you get it. So the worst thing this does is if you had any hope that Ramondre Stevenson was going to be an RB1 next year, that's gone. This is not going to be a backfield that is going to be fun for anybody.
No, I think it's just kind of a blah signing. It doesn't for anything, for the team.
All it does is hurt the current running back shares.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Austin Eckler to the Commanders.
This one's interesting.
2 years, $8.5 million. I've been the biggest Austin Eckler hater forever. Finally owned him last year, traded for him in Dynasty, and he fucked my butt. He couldn't even get 6 points in PPR the last couple weeks.
Let's not forget that he had a high ankle sprain week 1, and he was doing 19.5 PPR points in week 1. And he looked solid. He got that high ankle sprain, tried to play through it, and I think he was injured all year. I don't want to write off Austin Eckler yet. I
do.
Brian.
I never wrote him on, bro.
That's fair. I think, but we're talking about we're less than a year and a half away from Austin Eckler being the overall PPR pick.
That was a
drafts.
mirage, though, man.
I think that last year was a bit of a
think
mirage.
so?
Yeah, Brian Robinson's just a
can't-
guy.
he
Brian
can't
Robinson
run,
will
though.
be. I don't know.
Eckler
that
cannot run.
I don't
He
know
was
that
never
we know.
fast.
I'm not ready to write him off just yet.
He's a middle
especially
schooler.
at this draft price.
And I will say, just to counteract what I just said, Austin Eckler is one of those guys like Derrick Henry, hardworking dude. Like he's gonna get again Moneyball reference. Like I'm gonna get every ounce of what you have left, David Justice. They want to get every ounce of what Austin Eckler has left, and he's gonna give it to you. Now, what does that mean? I personally love Brian Robinson. I think he's a good player.
I think he's a jag.
You think he's just a guy?
Yeah.
He's a pretty big guy, though.
I
He can get shot and come back.
I
That's
get
pretty
it.
cool.
That is a tremendous story, but it was a mediocre year, a mediocre to good year last year. It doesn't do enough for
He
me.
proved it to me last year, though. He proved it. Man, he kept fucking Antonio Gibson. I know he's a bum off the. That means something to me. It's bad. I mean,
They hated Antonio Gibson there. They absolutely.
I know they hated him.
Yeah.
So, do you like this for real life, or do you like it for fantasy more?
I like it for fantasy more. I think,
Okay.
this is. I don't know that Washington's going to be that good of a team next year, just in general. And so, for me, I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot, which is going to keep Robinson on the bench, and you're probably going to have Austin Eckler in there. He is the pass catcher. I think he's going to have speed. I could be proven wrong. If week 1 can come out and, like you said, when the cliff hits, and it hits hard for running backs. But if Austin Eckler has it still, then this should be his backfield. And I would rather have Austin Eckler than some of the guys going ahead of him in drafts.
Where's he going? Like 80s?
He's 66 right now.
That's way too fucking.
I'd rather have him than Ramondre Stevenson. I'd
No.
rather have him than Josh Jacobs.
Nope. Josh Jacobs. What?
I'd rather
That's a
have.
fucking bell cow.
I'd rather have Austin Eckler, man.
You're a fuck. I'll make you a bet right now.
What do you want to bet?
Points per game, minimum 10 games played.
All right, we will discuss
PPR.
terms. We will discuss
$100.
terms on this.
Yeah, well, we'll put it on the board.
Good.
All right, next up, Zach Moss to the Bengals. Yeah, 2 years, $8 million. Yeah. I know he looks pretty good last year.
Chase Brown or Zach Moss?
Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Chase Brown's a fucking athletic.
One of 3
freak.
guys to have, I think, hit 22 miles an hour last year. When it came,
Multiple times, dude. He was.
No, he's got potential. He broke my heart every time that he looked like he was ready to take the next step. The next game, he either didn't get the touches or he didn't produce.
You talking about Moss?
No, Moss was
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird because you got 2 guys that we're not really sure what to make of it. Moss looked great, and then he didn't. And then it was tough because I had Moss and I wanted to start him in fantasy several times, but after Jonathan Taylor got that second injury where he was out for a couple games, he just didn't produce then. So Moss, 2 years, 8.5 million or something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
8 million. So,
but if Burrow is healthy next year, you're talking a high flying, explosive, high scoring offense. So one of these guys should benefit, should have value.
So the first year we did this show was 2021, and that was Zach Moss's second season. And me and Kappa were both slurping Zach Moss so hard on the Bills because it was him and Devin Singletary and like another bum. And like that's the year he ended up getting released. Like remember they didn't play him. He was inactive a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And they just nothing. And then next thing you know, he's on the fucking Colts dominating for literally 4 or 5 weeks, like really good shit. He was breaking off long runs. He looked fast, and like he was never his fast guy.
Early part of the year was tremendous, but
awesome.
Again, that second go round, it just didn't click.
No, but yeah, I guess for the Bengals, I feel like they could have just drafted a rookie here. You know what I'm saying? I know
they probably still will. I think there's room in this backfield for them to add somebody else, whether that's another free agent or they draft somebody. But this is a passing game, so I'm in on Higgins. I'm in on Jamar Chase.
Yeah. All right, last one here. We touched on it a bit. Aaron Jones to the Vikings. 1 year, $7 million. They released Alexander Madison. They do have Ty Chandler there. I love Ty Chandler.
Why?
Why?
He hasn't done anything. He needed Alexander Madison to be the worst running back in the league in order for him to
did pretty well in the fantasy playoffs, dude.
For him to be relevant. And don't forget that this is a team that signed LA's leftovers in Cam Akers and tried to make him the guy before they would give Ty Chandler
I get it.
the keys.
You know who Ty Chandler is? He's what the hell's the guy name from Tevin Coleman. That's who he is.
Tevin Coleman the 1 year that Tevin Coleman had relevance in Atlanta?
There's a couple. I always loved Tevin Coleman, man. He's super fast. He can catch passes.
There's nothing special about Ty Chandler. And the team is very adamant about that. Even if Aaron Jones gets hurt, I don't think Ty Chandler is going to be the guy.
When Aaron Jones gets hurt.
Okay. Inevitable that
Come on.
Yeah. But this is Aaron Jones' backfield until further notice.
Okay.
So draft him, get some production early, and then get rid of him.
Wise words from a wise man. All right, moving on to wide receivers. Calvin Ridley, the gambler, they call him.
Get that bag, man.
To the Titans, 4 years, $92 million. That's a fucking bag. And what I was just telling someone the other day was crazy that when they were actually in their window to win, which they were coming off an AFC Championship game, they did not want to pay A.J. Brown. 4 years, $100 million. And now they want to pay a 30-year-old. This is a 24-year-old A.J. Brown, who we both agree is a fucking dog.
I want somebody to make it make sense to me because...
It doesn't make any sense. You have Hopkins.
They had money. I guess they had money, and he was the biggest name on the free agency market.
And they're transitioning from the running game Mike Vrabel style team with Derrick Henry to apparently an all-out air attack with Will Levis. I love Will Levis for fantasy this year. I'm gonna say it right now.
I think he's got sleeper potential. Ridley had flashes last year, but he also couldn't get it done.
He was miscast, man. They played him only at an X, only outside, only running deep. Calvin Ridley gets pressed, he's done. He's a pussy. You need to put him in the slot, man. They had Christian Kirk, which is why they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But like Calvin Ridley needs to be a wild card type player.
How often do these big name free agency signings work out when wide receivers are changing teams?
Christian Kirk worked out.
Okay, I guess. Yeah, I get people love Christian Kirk on Jacksonville. He's fine. I don't know.
He worked. He's a good. He had a big. Remember how much he got paid? 4 years, $60 million. Everyone's like, that's way overpay. He's been good.
He didn't do much in Arizona.
Yeah, I know, and it actually worked out for him.
Okay, fine. Okay,
this is more money though for a 30-year-old player.
Right, but unless he's getting a quarterback downgrade, and he's not getting a role change. So what are we even talking about here? This is not. I'm out on Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I'll be in on it if he's an 8th round pick.
Let's see where he is, because
you also have Hopkins, you have Treylon Burks. The thing is, I was just saying about Will Levis.
I was wrong on that.
I'm a big fan of Will Levis. This is a Will Levis move. I like it for real life, too. I don't think it puts him over the hump at all.
Are you prepared to spend a mid-5th round pick on Calvin
Where's
Ridley?
Where's Hopkins going? Same? Are they one of the back-to-back kind of thing?
No, Hopkins is down at number 80. So, talking...
7th. Give me Hopkins.
7th round pick.
Wow, that's crazy.
Hopkins, 3 touchdown game last year.
Yeah, I had him everywhere. Sucked.
So
Okay.
to put a bow on this, I think it's a really great real life signing. I don't think that it's going to move the needle much for fantasy. I think 5th round is too pricey. For
No,
Ridley.
if anything, Ridley and Hopkins will cannibalize each other on how many yards will Levis. When I say I like him in fantasy, I like him because he uses his legs and he's mobile and he's not going to have 4,000 yards passing.
How do you divvy up that pie? Hopkins is at the tail end of his career, and Calvin Ridley's probably in the prime. But they're not. They are going to sign somebody, and they might draft somebody. Traylon Burks is not the answer there. But there's only so much to go around there when it comes to passing.
Burks is okay. You hate him?
I don't. I'm disappointed. I thought that Traylon Burks had great potential. He didn't show anything in
He
his first
can't
2
really
years.
run any routes.
He didn't show anything in
That's
his
a
first 2 years in the league.
No, he had the asthma issue or something, right? Which
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He had asthma. Yeah. But Calvin Ridley, good for you, man. Get that money.
Yeah,
get
get
paid.
the money.
Although
Okay.
I don't think he even really wants to be there. That was a weird press conference. Did you hear that?
no.
Where he was basically saying like, yeah, I want to stay in Jacksonville, but they didn't give me enough money, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm not sure that. I don't know. I don't know where his heart is.
Did you? Which is ironic, is that when he signed, the time he was signed, there's the future odds where these players are going to go. Titans were 12-1.
Ooh.
And the Jaguars were minus money, and it's just the funny joke is that Ridley got busted gambling, and that he could have easily. What's to stop these players from giving the Ohtani thing, giving their best friend $5 million? Hey, I'm going to sign with the Titans. $5 million at 12-1 odds is $60 million.
No sportsbook would take that action.
Why?
They have limits on these markets.
What's the limit? You think?
It's tough to say. It's probably so
Like
the
200,000?
sharp books aren't going to have these. Probably aren't even the sharp books aren't going to have long 5,000 maybe.
Oh.
Yeah,
So
5
it's not-
maybe 10,000.
Really?
Yeah. So I get what you're saying, but the crazy high limit, multi-million-dollar limits only money lines, maybe spreads and totals.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That debunks my theory.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but
You can still make $1 million from it.
it's like that fake story about the guy who bet on there to be a streaker during a Super Bowl.
Right.
Like,
and was a streaker.
And
Yeah.
yeah. Not a real
Yeah.
story.
That's funny. All right, Mooney, our boy from the Bears to the Falcons, 3 years, $39 million, which is insane. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
He's not very good.
You have any issues with? You're talking what, the third pass catcher on the Falcons team for a quarterback, an agent, as I mentioned earlier, an agent quarterback coming off a pretty bad Achilles injury. Doesn't make sense. Mooney, highly inefficient during that 1,000
It's a lot of money
season.
too, man.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not. I won't have any Mooney on fantasy teams next year. There's no
No,
reason.
this is strictly a real life conversation because Mooney hasn't been fantasy relevant since
That
literally
1,000 yard
yeah.
season. Yeah.
that was empty 1,000 yard season, by the way.
I'm telling you,
4
I think he was
touchdowns.
like 80 catches on 140 targets or something.
Yeah,
It was volume.
So many. All
So
right.
yeah, I mean it's good for Falcons and it's good for Kirk Cousins, but
But a bad signing, right?
yeah,
Like-
definitely overpaid.
Yeah, why would you do that? Okay, Gabe Davis taking over
Hmm.
the Calvin Ridley role. Jaguars, 3 years, $39 million. I like me some Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
He sucks.
It's-
He sucks. I like him. I only liked him
He had
because
to
he was
go
tied to
somewhere.
Josh Allen.
He had to go somewhere, and they had
Yeah.
a void to fill when Ridley left. So felt like a panic signing.
But
for
hey,
me.
you know what? I will say this. Like I said, that Ridley was miscast, only running the X route. Like, that is all Gabe Davis is. Run down the field, Gabe. So at least he's in a good spot for it.
how many zero catch games did Gabe Davis have over
It
the
was
last
a lot.
2 years? Yeah.
Last year he had like 4 or maybe 5. And they'd always follow it up with like 4
What
for
did they-
94 and a touchdown.
Yeah. What was the contract for Gabe Davis?
3 for 39, same as Mooney. It's fair.
Oh,
he's
that's
still
fine.
26 years old.
Wide receivers are they get paid, man. $13 million for a middling wide receiver.
Who do you think's better? Mooney or Gabe Davis? That is tough.
That might be the most difficult question I've ever been asked. Like, that's a tough one.
Okay, how about this one? Who's worse, Mooney or Gabe Davis?
Probably Mooney. Probably.
Yeah,
It's
he's
tough
more
to say.
versatile.
Yeah.
He's also a pipsqueak. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, those guys suck.
I played the fifth.
All right, Keenan Allen was traded to the Bears, 4th round pick.
This one was big. I did not expect it. The Chargers.
We talked about it earlier. I don't know what the fuck the Chargers are doing. They need receivers. They need players to fill the positions they need.
I don't blame Keenan Allen. The Chargers wanted Keenan Allen to take a pay cut.
Fuck that.
And he said, "I just had the most productive year of my."
He's also been
career."
a warrior.
Yeah. Now the problem is he's missed an average of 4 games over the last 2 years. It's difficult. So
Last year was kind of just fuck it, our season's over though, right?
That's true. I don't blame anybody for wanting to sit out. So this goes back to we had talked about. I mentioned that the Bears are doing right by potentially Caleb Williams and bringing in talent to surround him with. So this is exactly what this signing is. The problem is Keenan Allen isn't gonna. He's got more target competition in Chicago than he had in LA.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
DJ Moore is a stud and is a wide receiver.
He's the number one.
And Keenan Allen is a really good wide receiver, but he's a possession wide receiver.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me to say that Keenan Allen is going to move the needle on fantasy. Is it good for the Bears? Yes. From a real life standpoint.
Keenan Allen will still be a value because Keenan Allen is a value every single season.
He always is.
Because he doesn't need to score more than 4 touchdowns to be a value because he has 100 catches. Now, Keenan Allen probably only have 80 catches this year, but 80 catches for 900 yards and 5 touchdowns is a value when you're a 6th or 7th round pick.
I am off of Keenan Allen being drafted at ADP of 31.
Oh, that's higher than he's ever gone.
It is higher than he's ever gone, and it's a new team with a rookie quarterback.
And DJ Moore.
And DJ Moore on the other side.
That's strange. Where's DJ Moore going?
19, 20, or 18? No, 16. 16. People love people love the unknown, and this is...
It's the mystery box from Family Guy. Like, you get a
box,
boat
the
or
box.
the mystery box. Well, you never know what could be the mystery box. It could be a boat. You got a boat right there for free. Jesus, dude. The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. Now we're going to have 2 receivers going as wide receiver ones almost? Or wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2? Oh.
Chicago is where wide receivers go to die, too.
Yeah. Whoa.
It's challenging. I'm not happy about it.
These people must all live in the West Coast. Or like Argentina or something.
It's Argentina.
Deontay Johnson. I do not have his contract information up here because I forgot to put him on this list, but you mentioned him.
Yes.
Deontay Johnson to the Carolina Panthers. They were in major need of a pass catcher, a guy that can get some separation.
Yeah.
We both love, or I love, what's his name? Mingo. I love Mingo.
You do love Mingo.
But Mingo is not a separator, and Deontay Johnson is. Now, I don't think it matters because the Falcons suck. But I kind of like this for Deontay Johnson. I think
I do
he's
too.
Get a lot of targets.
I think Bryce Young has potential this year. I don't think he'll be truly fantasy relevant, but I feel he will take a step forward with this. Deontay
it's
Johnson,
impossible not to.
Yeah, 2-year, $36 million contract.
$18 million a year. Okay.
Nope. I'm sorry. That's with the Steelers. I'll find it.
It's hard to find.
Yeah.
I like Deontay Johnson. I think he can fill the number 1 spot. I mean, is Thielen still there? Thielen's done. We all know Thielen's done.
He's toast, man.
So he's gonna. I mean, we saw what Thielen did last year. Deontay Johnson's a better player at this stage of his career, so I could just kind of pencil him in for Thielen's numbers. I think that's pretty safe to say, right?
Yeah. So it was a trade. They traded for. There's a contract, $3 million roster bonus, $7 million base. So it's a 1-year contract. It's the end of his Steelers
$10 million
contract.
1 year.
Yeah. So it's fine, but I think it's good for the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers do suck, and they will probably suck again.
Yes, they will.
But Bryce Young will be better this year.
He will. Okay, Curtis Samuel to the Bills.
Yeah, I like this.
So,
I like this a lot. Curtis
They need a
Samuel had
slot.
flashes where he outproduced Terry McLaurin, a perennial number 1 wide receiver. I like this for Josh Allen. I like this for the Bills.
The money's high. 3 years, $24 million.
That's a lot of scratch.
But we have seen Cole Beasley have very productive years, later stages of his career, when everyone wrote him off for dead. And I think Curtis
John
Samuel,
Brown at the very end of his career had a good year.
Curtis Samuel is he's a more physical version of Cole Beasley.
Yeah.
So I don't mind this. I think
He's basically free in drafts.
they have to be taking a receiver in the draft, though, because Diggs is disgruntled. You got Gabe out of there. Apparently, they like Shakir. I kind of like Shakir. He played pretty well last year. And, I mean, I guess they got the dual tight ends. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to maybe have the little bit different personnel on the field.
Yeah, probably a lot of 21.
I don't know what the Bills are doing. I feel like the Bills should have traded for T. Higgins. The Bills, like I said, should trade for Devontae Adams. Josh Allen.
They should trade for Devontae
Dude,
Adams.
get a fucking another stud in there. Or get rid of Diggs. Whatever you got to do.
No, Diggs doesn't want to be there. He obviously
No, I
doesn't want
know.
to be there. And if he is, what happened to his production last year? It's impossible to say. The totality
of his numbers were great. He had 108 catches. It was just the last 5 weeks he was going like 3 for 30.
Yeah, it was bizarre if you had him in fantasy.
Taking plays off. It's like only playing 60% of the snaps.
You'll have games where Curtis Samuel catches 10 balls for 130 yards.
He's a gamer too.
Yeah.
I feel like that guy is a
but he
hard-nosed
won't be
player.
a consistent fantasy player. It's good for the Bills. I think they're trying to be in win now mode, but it feels like they're panicking a little bit with this signing.
I want a bigger deal though. I mean, that's a lot of money for like. I don't know why they didn't sign Calvin Ridley. You know what I mean? They should have signed Ridley. Fuck. They released all. I know they were in cap hell.
Yeah.
They released all their defensive players. They're old veterans. So we'll see. I mean, I can't believe that they're gonna not go to a Super Bowl with Josh Allen in this run. Beyond the weird overtime thing with the Chiefs that game,
it's
and
a
then
cursed
last
franchise,
year,
man.
they should have won last year, man, against the Chiefs. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cursed. Maybe go for 2 when you're up by 1. Hollywood Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs, 1 year, $7 million. I love this deal. See, this is what I want the Bills to do. Why didn't they just sign Hollywood Brown? Would you rather have Samuel 3 years, $24 million, or Hollywood Brown 1 year, $7 million? Bro, Hollywood Brown's younger.
So
I know you hate Marquise Brown.
I do hate Marquise Brown, and I also don't think that receivers on the Chiefs, the signings that they've had have not worked out well. Look back to what Sammy Watkins did on the Chiefs. It was nothing.
I know.
Right? There's just he didn't show up.
It's still a good move for the Chiefs, real life. Not a good move for fantasy.
Yes.
but,
Okay.
I mean, come on.
Probably, but I'm all in on Rishi Rice this year. I think he's got.
No, I get that, but would you rather have Hollywood Brown or MVS out there?
Hollywood.
Dude,
Yeah.
MVS can't catch.
Kadarius Toney,
Dude, like,
who's actively costing your team games.
and would you rather have Curtis Samuel or Marquise Brown?
Curtis
Don't
Samuel.
fucking lie.
Curtis
Dude,
Samuel.
what?
Curtis Samuel has shown he could be a number 1 wide receiver.
No,
in games.
never.
In games.
Number 1, never.
Not a number 1 wide receiver, but he's shown that he has the potential.
He can have the most catches in a game. That's not a number 1 receiver, first of all.
Okay.
He is not a number 1. He's a fucking gadget player, slot guy. Get out of
That's
here.
what the Bills need.
Okay, well,
What Marquise Brown? He's got 1 foot. He's always got a foot injury. There's always
I know.
something wrong with his foot. Like
he can't get down and dirty like Samuel can in the trenches, and you can't give him the shuttle
Samuel-
passes. But
Samuel's probably missed like 2 games in his career. Marquise Brown, you're signing a guy that you're going to have half the year. He's going to be limping around.
I want a difference maker. I
got a
don't
Liz-
think Curtis
He's got
Samuel's
a
a
Liz
difference
Frank
maker.
problem.
I think Marquise Brown can be a difference maker.
Maybe.
If
Not on the
healthy.
Chiefs.
On the Bills, though.
Yeah, that was probably would have been a better signing.
Mike Williams, New York Jets. I
Right.
have written down peanuts. I don't even know what it was. Was
what
it a
did
trade? He's coming off an ACL week 4, I believe. Mike Williams, believe it or not, is only 29 years old. So he is, thought of as an old guy. I like this signing because who's the bum they had there alongside Garrett Wilson? The guy from the fucking Packers? Aaron Rodgers loves.
Yeah.
Sucks him off all the time. Tall piece of shit.
Oh, my God.
Can't think of his name. 'cause
Yeah,
he
Rodgers
sucks.
brought him over there.
Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
So Alan Lazard was the worst player in football last year, I believe. At least if he wasn't by metrics, he was by eye test. He'd have 7 targets, 1 catch for 10 yards.
Yeah. So Williams,
This is
a
nice.
1-year deal with a max of $15 million. So there's incentives.
A lot of incentives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All
Good
this
deal.
does is it solidifies Garrett Wilson as the top dog
Yeah.
there, and probably a wide receiver 1 in fantasy.
And gives him a guy where they can't just leave him with single coverage on the second corner.
True.
And also, why didn't the Bills take Mike Williams?
Yeah.
I mean, or the fucking Chiefs?
Poor Mike Williams. He'll probably be hurt by week 4.
Well,
Probably land on the
No, he probably won't play till week 4.
Yeah. He'll probably land on the ball and get hurt
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
So it's not. I mean, it's really not much when it comes to the signing, but it does help Rodgers. It helps the Jets.
It does. All right, a couple guys, receivers unsigned, just want to talk about here. Notable names. OBJ.
Who did you say he was meeting with the other day?
Cowboys are there. There's a couple teams. Oh, the Dolphins and the Cowboys.
Okay, it was the Dolphins.
Good spots for him.
That would be good spots. This is a guy in the twilight of his career. He needs some place that is going to make him a bit player, right? A role player, and the Dolphins seem like
Dolphins.
a really good fit.
Yeah. Go down the field, catch a touchdown or 2.
Yeah.
Dance, hurt your hammy.
Vikesh has a Super Bowl ring with the Rams. It's a guy. I don't think he's like trying to hold on. I think he's still got something to give, but he's not a difference maker. He's a role player now.
Michael Thomas. Me and Nick O.
How the mighty have fallen.
Well, yeah. Well, was he that mighty? I mean, he had those big numbers, big years, but
He was the number 1 wide receiver in NFL or in fantasy drafts for 2 years in a
well,
row.
don't look now. Cooper Kupp's gonna be similar to Michael Thomas here coming forward.
You think
because-
he's
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think Cooper Kupp was ever that good. Just like I don't know if Michael Thomas was ever that good. I'm talking about legendary good.
smoking
We're
mirrors?
talking about Jerry Rice, Randy
Or
Moss.
what were they that good because they just got the volume?
The volume, the situation, it was like the perfect storm.
Yeah.
We're like, I'm just saying, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, Michael Thomas, Cooper Kupp. What two don't fit? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, even a player like Chris Carter, Michael Irvin, like we'll go down the list of these legendary guys that are amazing. Antonio Brown. They did it for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Michael Thomas did it for 4. Cooper
Ish.
Kupp's done it for 3.
Yeah, I think
Are they more likely to be in the pantheon of the guys I'm
No,
talking about, or the guys that?
we'll look back on these careers and say, man, Michael Thomas had a great 4 years. Man, Cooper Kupp had a great 4 years. But when it comes to legendary wide receivers, no, this is circumstance. This is those all these circumstances come together to make excellent things happen at a certain period of time.
Yeah.
But if Cooper Kupp was 10 years older or 10 years younger, he probably wouldn't have ever had that 4-year stretch. So, yes, Thomas is still in the market. Will he sign somewhere? Almost certainly. Does it make a difference either in fantasy or real life? Probably not.
Who would you rather have, OBJ or Thomas?
OBJ.
Really?
At this point, yeah.
He's a safer bet to be a contributor.
Yes.
But who has more upside?
OBJ.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. What has Michael Thomas shown in the last 3 years outside of being either injured or unwilling to
Who
play?
doesn't play?
He's got. How many
We've rarely
games?
seen Michael Thomas be unproductive, though. He just doesn't play.
Yeah.
We've seen OBJ now be unproductive and not play.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they both have injury risk. They're both knuckleheads. Even though Michael Thomas was supposed to be the consummate pro until he started punching people and being a knucklehead.
Yeah. Don't.
I don't know.
punch
I'd
your
rather have
teammates.
Michael Thomas. I'm still
fair.
going to die on this fucking hill. Anyone that's still watching knows me is going to laugh at this.
Will never make a difference because neither one of these guys is going to be in a position for us to make a definitive call about who will have the better end of life career.
I'm going to be talking about Michael Thomas in this podcast like 2035, God willing. I mean, believe in God, but I'll be talking about him because even he won't be playing. You know, I'll just be like, Michael Thomas checked into a retirement home. He's done. He's got a bad knee. He says, "Fuck life. I got my 90 mil.
So
So I'm
in
gonna
the-
sit in this fucking recliner."
In the retirement homes flag football league, would you rather have Michael Thomas or OBJ?
Probably OBJ because it's flag football. He just wants to celebrate.
That's true.
You want to see my cock? That's a way to keep the fucking audience in there. No, I won't show that. It'll be a very small blur. So, Mike's
yeah,
story.
you won't have to pay much for that blur.
No,
right?
yeah, it's pretty sweet. Thanks for coming
Hey,
on.
thanks for having me.
Next week, coming in the next couple weeks, draft. We're going to do quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, break down all the big names, couple deep dives from this guy who is the college dude.
I got
He's
some
still in
sleepers.
college, actually,
I got
right?
some- I take some community college classes. You know,
Yeah.
Trying to keep myself educated.
Right, yeah. Robin Williams teaches that class.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, shit.
Oop, R.I.P.
And it's been a complete joy.